Hello everyone, my name is Hiral Naik and I'm the Africa Program Manager at Save the Snakes. Today I'll be talking to you a little bit about a snake education project that we've set up here in South Africa. Snakes are really quite incredible animals, and from an evolutionary point of view, they are simply remarkable. They have evolved incredible adaptations to different environments, and within these environments, they play an important role as predators as well as prey. As predators, they are able to keep populations of rats, mice, and frogs in check. And as prey, they bring balance to the system by being food items to things like birds, mammals, and even other snakes. Snakes also have an important contribution to the medical world, as their venom is being used to create different types of drugs for the treatment of cancer, pain, and even blood pressure. But of course, one of the biggest threats to snakes is human-snake conflict, which largely stems from a fear of snakes. And it's because of this fear of snakes that we often see people indiscriminately killing both non-venomous as well as venomous snakes. But it's when the conflict occurs with venomous snakes that leads to snake bite. So this envenomation from a venomous snake, which causes snake bite, is so severe that in 2017, the World Health Organization declared it a neglected tropical disease. Currently, snake bite affects millions of people globally, putting death rates at between 81,000 and 138,000 per year. And those that don't die are often succumb to disability. And currently, the only treatment for snakebite is antivenom, which sometimes is not easily accessible to vulnerable regions, or it's simply too expensive. In 2017, Save the Snakes was formed, and the organization was formed to protect snake populations around the world and to educate people about the importance of snakes and their role within different ecosystems. With conservation partners around the world, I decided that Save the Snakes needed to set up a project here in South Africa. And I wanted to do this by forming a critical partnership. And so I identified the Hoedspruit Reptile Center, which are now our key partners in South Africa. Hoedspruit Reptile Center has been around for more than 30 years and is a hub for education and outreach when it comes to reptiles. And because our goals and missions were very similar, they seemed like the best organization to partner with to start an education and conservation project. So we joined forces and created a program that encompasses 5 main cogs. We have our schools project, a communities project, a healthcare workers project, an anti-venom bank, which is here at the Hoedspruit Reptile Center, and what we hope to establish is a snake relocation training program. And together, these cogs make up our program, Snake Education and Community Awareness Program. So the first of these is our schools project. We only just began this project in January 2021. And because of COVID, we had many delays. So our target group, the rural community schools, unfortunately, were not accessible. And so we had to compromise and visit a few schools that were based in the town itself. Of course, this, you'll see the results later, but this proved that snake education is pretty much needed for everybody. So the way we went about our schools project was to first do a pre-workshop survey. We then used interactive educational tools, which included using museum specimens. So things like snake skulls and snake sheds, which allowed for a lot more engagement with the learners. We also included an educational presentation. And we also used non-venomous snakes as interaction animals, which proved to be very useful. We would often see that students that wanted to touch the snake but had a fear of snakes would often see their peers touching the snakes and would slowly then warm up. And to be able to see this change right in front of our eyes was simply incredible. Something that we also do is demonstration with venomous snakes. And this is important because learners need to be able to see that the way that these different snakes behave. We use 3 different snakes, a puff adder, a boomslang, and a snouted cobra. Each of these also represents a different type of venomous animal. And this is important in relaying the message that often in situations where people feel threatened by snakes, the snake's instinct is in fact to run and go in the other direction. So from our pre-workshop surveys, we found some very, very interesting results. So group 2, which is a school, a grade 11 group in the Hoedspruit town itself, had the most people or the most learners that shared that they were scared of snakes. Group 1 is a grade 12 group at the same school. Group 3 is a school that already does more nature-based education. And interestingly, group 4 is our rural school, where you can see there were a lot less people that were, or that shared that they were not scared or that they didn't care, and had more of a positive response towards snakes. Interestingly, again, the nature-based school was the one that shared that they would call somebody if they found a snake. And this is often in situations where the snake is a problem snake. If they see a snake in the wild, we do encourage them to leave the snake alone. But it just goes to show that learners at the nature-based school know that they have someone that they can call to. On the other side of things, even though the rural school had more of a positive response towards snakes, they showed a response of killing snakes. And this shows again that, you know, they don't necessarily know what to do with the snake. And if they might actually like a snake, but their parents will tell them to kill the snake, then they're more likely to kill the snake. But the best news, of course, is that most of the learners shared with us that they definitely want to learn more about snakes. And this indicates that snake education and topics about snakes need to be incorporated into school curricula, because a lot more people will become a lot more aware of it and reduce this irrational fear of snakes. In addition to our school's project, we have our healthcare workers project, and this involves going to hospitals to educate healthcare workers about how to deal with snake bites. So far, we've been able to visit a local rural hospital and teach them a little bit about what to do in a situation when people have been bitten by snakes. The talk went very well, and we will be following up with this. We also have our communities project, which involves working very closely with rural communities in very informal or formal settings, so that they become a lot more familiar with snakes and become a lot more comfortable with snakes. And of course, none of this would have been possible if we didn't have solid partnerships in place. And our partnership with the Save the Snakes partnership with the Hoedspruit Reptile Center and with a new partner on board, Global Conservation Corps, we have really been able to make a difference. So what's next? We hope to build more partnerships, which means more schools. We also hope to have second visits to these schools that we have visited already and do post-workshop surveys or post-talk surveys. We also would definitely like to visit more hospitals and of course create a lot more material regarding the education of snakes and what to do in the event of a snake bite. Thank you so much to our sponsors and our partners. And if you have any questions, then please let me know. Thank you.